like family.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the sequel to Venom that came out in 2018, which was surprisingly very polarizing. A lot of people loved it, a lot of people hated it. Eddie Brock attempts to reignite his career by interviewing serial killer Cletus Cassidy, who becomes the host of the symbiote Carnage and escapes prison after a failed execution. A few things I need to talk about first before I talk about Venom 2 or Venom Let There Be Carnage is I have mixed feelings about the first Venom movie. I don't love it like everyone did, but I absolutely don't hate it like everyone did. Admittedly, I watched it for the first time last week, and I don't think it was terrible, but I also don't think it was good. It was just sort of meh. I also don't know much about the Venom comics. I know there's a lot of Venom fans out there. I know a little bit. I know just the right amount to understand what's going on. The reason I bring that up is because I wasn't as excited for Venom 2 as a lot of other people were. I went in this film with not much expectations. The trailers didn't really blow me away or anything. I was just ready to go see a superhero movie and not really think too much of it. But even with these low expectations, I was pretty disappointed with Venom Let There Be Carnage. There's a lot of things wrong with this movie, but first I will talk about the things that I enjoyed, and that is the dynamic with Eddie Brock and Venom, which was my favorite part about the first film as well. I think Tom Hardy does a great job with that. And there are a lot of funny moments throughout this film. This isn't a spoiler or anything because it was in the trailer, but there's a sequence where Venom goes to a rave. Just think about that. There is a sequence in this film where Venom goes to a rave and he's like covered in glow sticks. It was so strange, but weirdly, I enjoyed it. But unfortunately, besides Tom Hardy and the dynamic that Eddie Brock and Venom have, that's all I really liked about this film. There's many issues I have, and the first one I want to talk about is the runtime. This movie is like 90 minutes long. It's a superhero movie with Tom Hardy, Spider-Man characters, and it's 90 minutes. But for some reason, this film feels over 2 hours long, when it's not even close to that runtime. Something happens about a third of the way into the movie where two characters separate, and I thought it was a terrible decision by the writers. Maybe it makes sense for the story, but when you separate these two characters, the movie instantly becomes so boring. This movie has horrible pacing issues. After that, there's a big portion of this film where it really slows down, and there's things going on, but you really just don't care. Also, I mentioned before how short this film is, even though it feels a lot longer than it actually is. But since the film is so short, there's a lot of parts throughout the film where they either get the point A, the point B, or plot point A, the plot point B really fast without explaining anything. Like there's parts throughout the film where like, oh, we gotta find the thing. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Found it. Like, what? Really? It was that easy? All you had to do is Google a picture of some rocks and you found that location? Or you just have to use your Venom powers to hack a laptop and you found this super secret base? It was really that easy? There's a lot of things that happen throughout this film where they don't really explain too much and it just happens really quickly. Or there's a lot of things that happen in this film they just don't even explain at all and you're supposed to just forget about it, I guess? Or they weren't even trying to make it somewhat coherent. They're like, fuck it, we can just shell this out and it'll still make a lot of money. I guess I'll talk about Carnage now. I don't know. Thought he was kind of disappointing. I don't know anything about him in the comics. He might have been spot on of how he was in the comics. I have no idea. I don't know. As someone that doesn't know much about the comics, he was just sort of whatever. And lastly, I really feel like this film could have been better if it was rated R. I mean, it says Let There Be Carnage. There should be some carnage in this movie. There really wasn't much. It should have been rated R. I get why it's not. It'd be a major spoiler if I said why, but I get why it's PG-13. I just think there's some wasted potential there. You could have made this movie rated R and it would have been a lot better. Venom Let There Be Carnage had some entertaining and funny moments, but overall still felt like a jumbled, rushed mess. Tom Hardy is still good as Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock and Venom's dynamic was my favorite part about the film, which was also my favorite part about the first film. This film is 90 minutes long, but for some reason it feels like it's over 2 hours. That's probably because at some point, about a third of the way in the movie, two characters separate. I think it was a horrible idea by the writers because the film really starts to slow down. Since the runtime is so short, everything happens so fast, it makes no sense. You're supposed to just forget about it, not ask any questions. The movie's like, don't fucking worry about that. Let's get on to the next plot point. As someone who doesn't know much about the Venom comics and also thought the first Venom film was just sort of meh, I thought Carnage was just sort of there. Like I said, I don't know much about the comics, so Woody Harrelson could have absolutely murdered as Carnage, but as someone who knows nothing about the comics or anything like that, Carnage was just sort of a below average villain. He didn't blow me away or anything, and I thought that was kind of disappointing. This film absolutely should have been rated R. I mean, Carnage is in the title, and there's really not much Carnage in this film. This film could have been a lot better if they made this rated R and they went all out. But I get why it's PG-13, not just for financial reasons. I get it for the story. I won't get into it because that would be spoilers, but trust me, guys, I understand. I'll give Venom Let There Be Carnage 4 Davy Daves. I will say it has one of the most interesting post-credit scenes I've ever seen. I'm curious to see where they go with that. It confirmed a lot of things, obviously no spoilers, but I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with that. So we got that coming up. So Venom Let There Be Carnage. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Have you seen it? And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey Dave's Takes.